There's no way that you can tell that much truth without offending certain portions of the population. And so now you have to figure out how you're going to handle that. And at 5'5", I've always handled it this first.
If you sign up for their program, you get a light-skinned, weird face wife that never do an interview. Listen, in 20 years won't do an interview. Nobody's ever talked to her, and she's never been interviewed anywhere.
With Beyonce, you know, it's just a weird thing because I do love her so much, and I would never ever want to do anything to hurt her or her image because she's, you know, she's important to us. But it's just a weird thing right now. Like, I love Beyonce still. And then you have celebrities like a Jay-Z. And this is where I think the whole fallout with the Beyonce, she's just kind of in the crosshairs because of all of what's going on in the media with respect to Jay.
There's no vindication for me because for 4 years I've been screaming, not just Diddy, but Diddy and Jay-Z are monsters. And the victim-making machine kept.
Long before 2024 ever came into view, Katt Williams wasn't just cracking jokes on stage. He was dropping what sounded like warnings. In interview after interview, buried between punchlines and laughter, he spoke like someone who had already seen the ending. He hinted that the entertainment world was sitting on a fault line, and that one day, the ground beneath Hollywood's most protected giants would finally split open. Back then, people smirked, rolled their eyes, called it just comedy, just another rant for shock value. But now, those same clips feel different, heavier, almost prophetic. Because as the months passed, reality started lining up a little too perfectly with what he described. First, the explosive legal storm around Diddy shattered the illusion of invincibility, proving that even the most untouchable moguls could bleed. And suddenly, the spotlight began drifting toward another empire, toward Jay-Z. And to some viewers watching closely, it feels like Katt's so-called jokes weren't jokes at all. They were a countdown. Then came the whispers. Quiet at first, then deafening. Online chatter began claiming Jay-Z and Beyonce had quietly slipped out of the United States, vanishing to some undisclosed location like ghosts in the night. No statements, no confirmations, just silence, the kind that makes people assume the worst. And that silence lit a match. Within hours, the internet spiraled. Screenshots spread like wildfire. Threads multiplied. At the center of it all was Resurfaced reporting about an old FBI tip tied to the Epstein files, where Jay-Z's name allegedly appeared in the same breath as figures like Pusha T and Harvey Weinstein. The details were murky, memories blurred, nothing concrete, but nuance doesn't survive on social media. Once the story hit the timeline, it mutated. Speculation turned into certainty. Theories stacked on theories. Reaction videos exploded. Some tried to tread carefully, others went straight for the jugular, connecting dots that may or may not exist, but gripping the narrative like it was already fact.
If you take people like Jay-Z and Pusha T, they made their living killing our people, so how the f*** stand up for our people? You know what I'm saying? But we forget that because we love Jay-Z's music so much. We love Pusha's music so much, right? But you think they would ever, Beyonce had the best for somebody else? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You think they would ever tell the truth? No, if they told the truth, they'd go to jail. You know what I'm saying? So you have liars. Man. Liars are now the face of our culture.
Approximately 2006, Blank last recalled being by Epstein. Okay, so this is the first half and the section in which Jay-Z's name comes up. And while an allegation is an allegation is an allegation, what has me kind of skeptical here is the time frame in which Jay-Z is cropping up here. 1996, which is not the earliest point of his career, but early enough in terms of his studio album discography. He was barely having moved out of Marcy at that point, and his first record only sold like 43,000 copies. There's been a litany of debates going back and forth about like whether or not it would have been believable for Jay-Z to sort of have been in these kinds of circles way back in 1996, which I know the waters do get muddy a little bit because of how popular and massive Jay-Z is as a figure now. So as a result of that, it's kind of easy to almost like, you know, always imagine him in that frame.
Boards, Jay-Z's inner circle of supporters hasn't stayed quiet. If anything, they've gotten louder, louder than the accusations, louder than the speculation, pushing back hard against what they believe is a narrative spiraling out of control. To them, this doesn't look like justice or accountability. It looks like a story being twisted in real time, history rewritten without context, without proof, without fairness. They argue that people aren't analyzing facts anymore, They're chasing drama. Their biggest point? Timing. Back in 1996, they say, Jay-Z wasn't the billionaire mogul critics picture today. He wasn't sitting at the top of a global empire. He was still grinding, still hustling, still trying to get his foot in the door. No private jets. No political connections. No elite guest lists. Just a young artist fighting to survive in an industry that barely knew his name. So the idea that he somehow had the kind of shadowy access people now suggest feels, to them, completely detached from reality. From that perspective, what's happening now feels like retroactive blame, like people are taking the power and influence Jay-Z has today and projecting it backward onto a version of him that simply didn't exist. Fans say it's an unfair lens, one that turns speculation into suspicion and suspicion into assumed guilt. And they've seen this movie before. Many point to last year's viral Tony Busby linked Jane Doe case, a story that exploded overnight, dominated headlines, then quietly collapsed once the details were actually examined. To them, this feels eerily similar. A swirl of half-remembered claims. Old names dragged back into the light. Social media turning whispers into evidence. They argue it's not facts driving the conversation, it's momentum. Algorithms. Outrage. Guilt by association. And in their eyes, what's being sold as a reckoning looks a lot more like a rumor mill dressed up as truth.
You should believe that in 1996, Jay-Z, still without a record label living in New York, was already hanging around with Harvey Weinstein. Sounds like BS just like the last time. But some people are saying this is the time period that Jay-Z was chasing LL Cool J around in clubs in New York to battle him for clout, and we're supposed to believe he was connected to Weinstein and Epstein. They're saying Jay-Z was a rapper who was getting dissed by Tupac. All right, so look. They're saying that, look, Jay-Z can't have been that popular. He didn't have this sort of Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein connections in 1996. It was too early. But then some people are arguing, wasn't he like 26 and already connected to the game? It's possible, in my opinion. Jay had connections by then. Reasonable doubt wasn't the start of his career. But then people are arguing and said that if he was that connected, so much connected, he was close friends with Weinstein, who was already winning Oscars. Why couldn't he even get signed by some label? If Jay-Z was so close with him, why didn't they use his firm to produce Streets is Watching? Why didn't they do anything together for 20 years? Never appeared together when they were such close friends, according to his lady. But then we get to this. So there's been a lot of allegations that Jay-Z has dated girls young and all that kind of.
But even inside that wall of loyal defenders, there's one detail nobody can seem to bury, one thread that keeps getting pulled no matter how hard people try to move on. And it's not a court filing or a leaked document. It's something far more personal. The beginning of Jay-Z and Beyoncé's story. The origin. The part that suddenly feels different under today's microscope. According to accounts that have circulated for years, Beyoncé was only 17 when Jay-Z first took interest in her. Still a teenager. Still figuring out fame. Meanwhile, he was already a grown man, already navigating the industry with experience, power, and connections she simply didn't have yet. At the time, nobody treated it like a red flag. The narrative was romantic, almost mythic, a superstar couple in the making, two icons aligning before the world even realized it. Their relationship would eventually be framed as hip-hop and R&B royalty, one of the most celebrated partnerships music had ever seen. But now, looking back, some people aren't seeing a fairy tale anymore. They're seeing an imbalance. A gap that feels harder to ignore. For years, that age difference just sat quietly in the background, barely mentioned, filed away as an unimportant footnote in a glamorous love story. Nobody questioned it. Nobody dissected it. But the culture has changed. Audiences are sharper now. More suspicious of power dynamics, more willing to ask uncomfortable questions. And suddenly, that once-forgotten detail feels louder than ever. Supporters who once defended everything without hesitation are now scrolling through old interviews, replaying clips, analyzing lyrics, studying body language in red carpet footage, searching for context, for reassurance, for something that makes it all feel normal again. Because what used to look like destiny now, to some, looks complicated. And that tension between admiration and unease is getting harder to silence.
Tell me about your audition with Jay-Z. Tell me what he said to you.
A really good audition.
And what did he say to you? He said something to you.
Oh yes, he said, we don't sing songs here, we sing artists. And there was this little pause, and I was nervous. But then he said, and we're interested. And there was this sudden feel of relief.
But then he said something about a window and a door or something.
Oh, then he said, he said it whole word.
I did a lot of homework on you this lady.
He said, there are two ways to leave here. Either through the door with the deal signed or through this window, and we're on the 29th floor.
So you was like, where's the pen? Where's the paper? I'm signing.
Yeah.
The audience is so uncomfortable. Like, I don't know if Tyra was trying to get that on the record, but my God, what Jaguar he threatened her. This is her own words coming out of her mouth. And she was a kid at that time, correct?
15-year-old girl who had been flown to the United States without parental supervision or a chaperone, brought to a grown man's office in a large corporate Manhattan building. Everybody knew when she flew in. I was there the day she got signed. Everyone was talking about it, and the 6 hours that she spent with him, and the 4 hours that she spent alone with him with no parental supervision. Her father didn't show up to the next day to come and collect the check.
Well, and
this isn't her life.
The rumors were even beyond that, right? That Jay-Z was cheating on Beyonce with her when she was 17 is what a lot of this came out through a publicist who later then
had
had
you
to
spoken
apologize.
to my friend Jonathan Hay? You should talk to Jonathan.
Please.
Because Jonathan was there. He was right there working with Rihanna. And it was right when they started crafting her to be seen as a brand and commodity only and not a person. And when I talk to Jonathan now, just to hear him when he thinks of his teenage daughters, he was like, Rihanna was the same age my girls are now. I couldn't imagine putting my daughters through what we put her through. And then the next thing you know, she was removed from that first team from Pond the Replay and replaced with all new handlers and kept sheltered in Los Angeles, where she was going out to parties and partying at 15, 16, 17 years old, hanging out at the Rainbow Room, hanging out. Yeah, like it was one of my friends who found out she was 17 when everyone thought she was 21. And he was like, yo, why do y'all got me carrying this girl around? And she's, it's cool.
Well, but just to echo and support you, like they had to debunk that. Well, we apologize. It wasn't real. We made it up in hopes of giving her single a boost.
Yeah, they
like,
promised
what?
Jonathan a deal working at Tidal and something, and then they reneged. And then the next thing you know, he was caught in a home invasion robbery while he was working on the Drake secret baby mama story,
Jeez.
Sophie. He was duct taped him and his daughter, and he was pow whipped in front of his child. So, you know, there's a lot that goes on in the backdrop. And I know the PTSD. I know what it's like to be in a trunk, you know.
Speaking of PTSD, you made a comment about this. Like, this was from the Super Bowl appearance more recently. This bothered you, seeing her put the Rockefellers logo out there.
If you
what was
go
your
back
instinct to that?
and watch, it was almost as if she didn't want to put her hands up, and then she looked over where Jay-Z's box was, and then you just see her hand. She look at her. She's looking at his box. She didn't want to do it. She didn't even want to do that gig.
And just when it seemed like the conversation couldn't get any heavier, another name drifted back into the spotlight, one that carries its own shadow, its own heartbreak. Aaliyah. A voice frozen in time. A legacy wrapped in both admiration and mystery. For years, she's been remembered with reverence, almost like something sacred. But now, her name isn't being whispered with nostalgia. It's being pulled into the storm. Not because of any new revelations. Not because of fresh evidence. But because the internet has a long memory, and it loves to dig. Old photographs. Forgotten interviews. Grainy red carpet clips. Suddenly, they're everywhere again. Images of a young Aaliyah standing beside Jay-Z, smiling for cameras, caught in moments that once felt harmless, now replayed in slow motion, dissected frame by frame. And with those images come old stories, claims that he showed interest in her during a period when she was already entangled in the chaos surrounding R. Kelly. At the time, nobody blinked. It was just industry networking, just celebrities in the same rooms. But viewed through today's lens, a lens sharpened by everything we've since learned about exploitation and control, those same moments feel different. Less innocent. More uncomfortable. Like pieces of a puzzle people aren't sure they want to finish. Then the conversation takes an even darker turn. Beyond the photos. Beyond the rumors. Online forums begin circling something far more explosive. Whispers that Aaliyah's death wasn't simply a tragic accident at all. Theories multiply. Threads stretch for miles. People connect dots that may not even belong on the same page. To be clear, there is no proof. No verified evidence. Nothing concrete to support those claims. But logic rarely stands a chance against emotion. And Aaliyah's story carries a kind of emotional gravity that pulls people in whether they want it to or not. The loss still feels unresolved, unfinished, like a question the world never got to ask. So the speculation lingers. Because when transparency disappears, when answers never come, the void doesn't stay empty. it fills itself. And sometimes, what rushes in is louder and darker than the truth.
You wanna know what's really up? She was unconscious. She didn't choose to get on that plane. There were phone calls made. There are witnesses who signed NDAs. Why would you need to sign a non-disclosure agreement about a plane crash and what happened leading up to it?
Twin-engine Cessna was headed for Florida when it crashed Saturday on Abaco Island, 100 miles north of Nassau, killing popular R&B singer Aaliyah and 8 others. Investigators now say from witness statements an engine may have failed and that the plane may have been overloaded.
Why the would you need to sign a don't ask about a plane crash if it was accidental? Riddle me that. Riddle me that. A plane crash should be accidental.
Should be.
Why would any testimony about what happened leading up to it need to be covered under a non-disclosure agreement if there wasn't foul play?
Stricken parents, her aunt Gladys Knight, Aaliyah's boyfriend Damon Dash, fellow hip-hop honcho Sean Puffy Combs, R&B singers Usher, Maya, and Monica, hip-hop artist Jay-Z, Busta Rhymes, Lil' Kim, Missy, even former heavyweight champ Mike Tyson. As Aaliyah's casket was moved from the famed Frankie Campbell Funeral Chapel, her heartbroken mother, Diane Houghton, gently acknowledged the crowd of mourners.
He was after Beyonce when she was before 18, correct? I mean, as we go through the timeline, they claim, oh no, I met him at 18 and then we waited till I was 19, but they knew each other when she was like 15, 16, correct? He clearly had eyes, and it's not the only one, right? There's Aaliyah as well. I was looking at these photos. There's a history
but Aaliyah,
of this, right?
Definitely. A lot of people don't realize the timeline, but after everything went bad with Robert Kelly, and he had to divorce Aaliyah, Jay-Z was interested while she was still underage. And as she started spending more time in New York, he was very, very, very right there. She didn't want that. She didn't want that with him. And if there's one thing I can tell you about Sean Carter, being embarrassed and being rejected are things he does not handle well. You know, a lot of people say, oh, you're crazy. He didn't do anything to Big L. He didn't do anything to Lamont Coleman. But I think people tend to forget, if Dame had successfully signed Lamont to Rockefeller, we wouldn't even know about Reasonable Doubt. It would have stayed a cult classic, probably sold 750,000. If Lamont Coleman had signed to Rockefeller, he would have been the star. He's always removed anything that can make him look as average as he is. I don't know how many times they used to tell the story, oh, he has a photographic memory. He remembers all of his lyrics, yet he's always had a teleprompter in the floor at his shows. That's why he would always sit down and look down at it looked like he was looking at his shoes. No, he was reading the lyrics. He is a magician. Everything you see about him is an illusion. But what he loves most is controlling youth.
Well, that was something Nas said way back, saying, yeah, he was indulging with these back with R. Kelly.
And I wish I hadn't signed paperwork. And I wish I hadn't taken money.
Well,
but I know everybody else that didn't. I spent my time collecting these people. And they will have their day, and we will all get justice.
And just as the conversation started to feel heavy, almost suffocating, the internet did what it always does when things get too serious. It laughed. Not the nervous kind of laughter either. The chaotic, meme-fueled kind. Within hours, the tension that had built up across timelines twisted into something else entirely. Screenshots turned into punchlines. Headlines got chopped up, remixed, and plastered onto reaction GIFs. Serious allegations were suddenly packaged with sarcasm and trending sounds. What had started as uncomfortable, weighty discussions morphed into viral entertainment. Because online, nothing stays sacred for long. Not even scandal. Trolls poured in like clockwork. Comment sections flooded. Jokes stacked on top of jokes. Dark humor. Conspiracy edits. Pop culture mashups. Every new post tried to outdo the last, chasing clout off controversy. And somehow, even people who had nothing to do with the situation got dragged into the storm. Names like 50 Cent, Rihanna, and Nicki Minaj started popping up in tweets, memes, and side-by-side comparisons, sometimes referenced, sometimes blamed, sometimes just used as collateral damage for laughs. Directly or indirectly, everyone became part of the spectacle. Because once the internet grabs hold of a story, it doesn't just analyze it. It turns it into content.
50 Cent has finally responded to Jay-Z and Pusha T being exposed in the Epstein files. For those of you guys that don't know, last night it was publicly revealed to the entire world that Pusha T and Jay-Z were both revealed to be in the Epstein files, with them being accused of doing very disturbing and nasty things. For Pusha T specifically, he was claimed in 2007 to have been with Harvey Weinstein, where he then ended up a woman. And as for Jay-Z, his accusations are also very disturbing, with him being accused of doing something to a girl while she was sleeping. And with all of this coming out, 50 Cent couldn't waste the opportunity to go at his nemesis Jay-Z by basically blasting him and making fun of him all over social media. And this is specifically what he ended up posting to his Instagram page, which were just very weird AI photos of Jay-Z. And then 50 Cent also hinted that he is planning on doing a massive documentary with this entire situation and exposing Jay-Z, with the caption of this post saying, "Damn, they got Jay-Z on the Epstein list. I gotta do a doc on this." And 50 didn't stop there, because then he posted another photo of the headline of this entire situation breaking out, with him just pointing more jokes and fun at Jay-Z. So let's know what he has from my entire situation. 50 Cent just made jokes of Jay-Z.
I know I promised you I'm gonna give you my first Grammy, but we might have to fight for this one.
She said she wanted to thank everybody for her first Grammy.
Anyway, I'd like to thank Jay-Z for being a part of this record with me.
She liked to thank Jigga Man for being the greatest in the world.
Ella Reid, Steve Bartles, Tata, Jay Brown, Karen Kwok for finding this amazing record. Tricky, Dream for writing such a beautiful record.
Nicki Minaj in particular ignited attention with a series of posts that many interpreted as pointed commentary. Without naming Jay-Z directly in every message, her wording left little doubt about who she was addressing, she wrote. Your favorite artist has been practicing rituals in a satanic cult where they take babies from other countries and mutilate and kill them as a form of a blood sacrifice to their god. You see, when your master is Satan, you must constantly shed blood. However, the jig is up. She followed with, "Are y'all understanding that these people have been sacrificing children as a way of gaining and maintaining power? If you ever vote Democrat again, you're just as soulless as they are and will perish." Maybe it's time for me to do some story time, since I was trying to not say what I know. Yet, they continue to attempt bullying. Also, I won't be releasing an album until my contract is renegotiated, and until I tell you about all the sabotage this Rico is finding out about Billboard. Even if most people dismissed her comments as exaggerated, emotional, or purely opinion-driven, the damage was already done. Because in a moment like this, it doesn't take hard proof to shake the room, it just takes one loud voice and the right timing. And her words landed like a match tossed into dry grass. Suddenly, a conversation that was already tense turned explosive. Every theory felt bigger. Every rumor spread faster. The temperature online jumped 10 degrees overnight. But the twist no one expected didn't come from a courtroom. It didn't come from a breaking news banner or some dramatic press conference. There were no lawsuits filed. No tearful statements. Not even a messy tweet. Instead, it came quietly, almost invisibly, buried inside something most people scroll past every day. Social media activity, or more specifically, the lack of it. As the noise online grew louder, fans started tracking numbers. And that's when they noticed something strange. Jay-Z's follower count had reportedly dropped fast. Over 10,000 gone in what felt like a blink. At first, it sounded random. Celebrities lose followers all the time. But then people started digging deeper. And that's when the situation stopped looking random at all. Because it wasn't just anonymous accounts disappearing. It was names people recognized. Big names. Accounts connected to Rihanna, Kim Kardashian, Miss Tina Knowles, Beyoncé's own mother, Kelly Rowland, even corporate giants like Apple Music, and, strangely enough, the NFL. One by one, they were no longer following him. No public statements. No dramatic unfollow callouts. Just quiet digital distance. Like doors closing softly in the background. And maybe it meant nothing. Maybe it was coincidence. But in today's hyper-connected culture, people don't see silence as neutral anymore. They see it as a signal. Because when powerful figures start stepping back without a word, the absence speaks louder than any explanation ever could.
According to reports, Jay-Z's Instagram account also lost over 100,000 followers after his name appeared in the documents. Some major accounts, including celebrities and brands, are believed to have unfollowed him. Now that right there, that's something. That is something there, because when you say celebrities unfollowed him, you got to think about how the industry is and how they're all in the industry. But I said there's layers to it. You know, there's different tiers. So like, it's like when news come out, some people want to unfollow so they don't lose their brand deals, you know? Oh, you didn't hear what happened? You know, what's alleged against Jay-Z? And we see that you're following him, deal gone, you know? So some people are probably trying to separate themselves so they don't lose any brand deals, you know? Let's see here. I'll read that again. Some major accounts, including celebrities and brands, are believed to have unfollowed him. At the time of reporting, Jay-Z still has around 1 million followers. And Beyonce, along with Lindsay Lohan, Diddy, Ivanka Trump, and Kris Jenner, continue to follow him. Okay? Speculations suggest Kim Kardashian, Rihanna, Apple Music, and the NFL may have unfollowed him as well. That right there is huge. I mean, extremely huge. For one, when you look at, which is crazy too, because you got Kris Jenner, the mama of Kim, still follow him, but they're saying that Kim Kardashian unfollowed him. Rihanna, again, Jay-Z is one of the dudes, you know, it was rumored some stuff with Rihanna and him and the whole Chris Brown situation. Again, I'm just saying rumors because we don't really know what the truth is. We can speculate, but yeah. Apple Music, man. Apple Music. But the NFL. Jay-Z, for you guys who don't know, I'm pretty sure most of you do, but Jay-Z is the one who, you know, helps the NFL find the talent for the halftime shows. You know, I remember Lil Wayne was mad at him because when you had the NFL in New Orleans and Lil Wayne wasn't part of the halftime show, it was like, what the hell? Y'all in my hometown, you couldn't even get me? People thought like, damn, Jay-Z is in this position. For sure, Lil Wayne is going to be there. This is huge.
And just when it felt like the noise couldn't possibly get any louder, the rumors mutated again. What started as whispers turned into headlines, and those headlines turned into something that sounded almost cinematic. A fresh claim began racing across timelines. Jay-Z had allegedly left the United States altogether, disappearing to some undisclosed location with no clear return. No itinerary. No sightings. Just absence. The kind of absence that makes people assume the worst. Within hours, a phrase started trending like wildfire, gone full Diddy. Half joke, half accusation. A callback to the recent unraveling of other powerful figures who seemed untouchable, until they suddenly weren't. The comparison hit people with a strange sense of déjà vu, like they'd already watched this story play out once before. First the rumors, then the legal smoke, then the quiet exits. To some observers, the pattern felt eerily familiar, almost scripted, like another domino tipping over in slow motion. But here's the part that gets drowned out in all the chaos. There's still no hard proof. No confirmed flight logs. No verified travel records. No official statements from credible sources backing up the claim. Mainstream reporting has been clear. Nothing concrete shows that Jay-Z permanently left the country. Nothing solid at all. And yet, none of that seemed to matter. Because by the time facts show up, the internet has already decided what it believes. Screenshots move faster than corrections. Hashtags travel further than evidence. And once a narrative goes viral, reality struggles to catch up. In the court of public opinion, momentum beats truth every time.
Instagram post, Jay-Z had reportedly fled the country after his name allegedly appeared in newly resurfaced files, sparking a wave of speculation. No official charges or confirmed wrongdoing has been announced, but the internet has erupted with rumors. The many questioning what the connection could mean. Sources close to the situation have not provided clarity, and legal experts continue to stress that appearing in documents does not automatically imply criminal involvement. Which I agree, but still the sudden disappearance from public view has only intensified the controversy, leaving fans and critics alike demanding answers as the story
Just when people thought the conversation had stretched as far as it possibly could, when every old clip had been replayed and every theory exhausted, another ghost from the past stepped back into frame. A name most had forgotten, until now. Rymir. For years, he's been tied to one persistent, controversial claim that Jay-Z is his biological father. A story that hovered on the edges of headlines, resurfacing every so often before fading again. His paternity case dragged through the courts for over a decade, a slow, grinding legal fight that ultimately ended the only way paperwork knows how to end things: dismissed. Officially closed. Stamped and shelved. On paper, it was finished. But the internet doesn't care about paperwork. Because legal endings don't always kill public curiosity. Sometimes they just make the mystery louder. Out of nowhere, Rymir's name started circulating again. Not because of a new lawsuit, not because of fresh evidence, but because he suddenly reappeared online, offering public gratitude toward Nicki Minaj during her own wave of controversial posts. It seemed small, almost random, yet the timing felt suspiciously perfect. And in a moment where every connection is being overanalyzed, even coincidence starts to look intentional. Within minutes, social media did what it does best: speculate. Threads exploded with questions. Was he gearing up to reopen the case? Was something happening behind the scenes? Or was this just symbolic, a quiet show of support that accidentally pulled him back into the spotlight? No one had answers. No filings. No court motions. No official signs of any legal revival. Nothing concrete at all. And still, the chatter wouldn't die. Because this entire saga keeps circling the same unsettling truth. Even when the courts close a door, the public rarely does.
Do you believe wholeheartedly that Jay-Z your father?
I really do. And if it's not, why you can't prove me wrong? Like, it's not far as a proving me wrong thing. It's go to the courtroom and basically do what everybody else would have to do. Like, it's not, you don't have to prove me wrong. I just want the truth. Honestly, I can take a no. I can take, if I'm embarrassed at the end of the day, I can take that. I really can. I've been through a lot. I've seen a lot. I could take me being embarrassed. Like, just can't take nobody not saying nothing. Like, you know, it's not fair. I was 7. My mom had to sit down with me. I guess she thought I was old enough to know now. And she was saying Sean Carter, that's what she was calling me first before she was calling Jay-Z. And I really didn't know who that was because I was young and, you know, had my little brother and I really wasn't worrying about it. She was saying it a lot, but I really just was going along with the person I was just seeing, like the person I looked at who was taking care of me at that time. I really wasn't really trying to understand what my mom was talking about, but she constantly put it in my head like, son, it's not your father, and I really want you to know it is. This person is your father, and I just want you to know. And she continued to tell me that over the years and over the years and over the years, even until I was grown. He never tried to contact me in any type of way, and that's all I'm asking. It's like, cause I honestly really want the case to be over with. Like, I've been going through, just like I said, a lot, and as I said, I'm not chasing nobody. I'm not trying to do this to make somebody seem like a bad person, a bad father. I'm not trying to make nobody seem like a bad person or nothing. I'm just really coming out here for the truth. I don't want no money or anything. I wasn't looking for none of that. I just want to know the truth. And if I can't go to the courts and get the truth, like, what is it really? Why you? What is it? I just really want it over. It's something that's really affecting my life, and I just want it over with. I work every day. I also have my own kids to take care of. So it's like, it's been a journey for me, and it's just like, you know, I just got so much on my name right now. I never ask for money. I don't do interviews just saying, hey, Jay-Z, give me your money, or I'm coming at the Jay-Z for his money. I never did that. I'm not that type of person. I work for everything I work for everything. The next is I'm just trying to basically make sure no other kids or nobody else in the world has to go through this. Basically, don't feel afraid to go to court and see if a person is your biological parents. You know, so many people are scared, and this is a big thing in the world. A lot of people don't have their fathers because they scared to go out and search for them, and sometimes it only take a little search. You know, go search, and if it's wrong, we're adults. Well, most of us adults, even for the teenagers, this being a role model for them, showing you can't go in the courtroom, and if you're doing everything correctly, you should be able to just get treated as equal as the other person. I've always been a person that I never hate anyone. I never, I don't walk around with hate for a person. So I try to teach my kids that just be the best that you can be. So that's just a model I go off. I would never hate Jay-Z. It was never that type thing. I respect him for everything he did. And as I said, I've been going through a whole lot through these years because this case, like me, my mom, my godmom, we didn't seen the worst. We didn't have people, slander my name. Like you want Jay-Z money, and I hear it all. I'm going to fight until I'm not here no more, and it's never going to be against no one. Like, I'm going to continue to fight. It'll take another 10 years, maybe another 50. Maybe I'll take this to the grave with it.
Maybe all of this fades away tomorrow. Maybe the rumors burn out, the headlines disappear, and the truth stays buried where it's always been. Or maybe this is one of those stories people whisper about for years, the kind you carry with you because something about it never quite sits right. The kind that feels unfinished. Like there's more beneath the surface that nobody's ready to say out loud. So now the question's yours. Is this just the internet doing what it does best, sprinting miles ahead of the facts, turning smoke into fire for clicks and chaos? Or are we watching something bigger unfold in real time? The early cracks of another industry reckoning, another empire quietly shaking before the fall? Let me know what you think down in the comments. And if you're into deep dives like this, the stories they don't put on the front page, the details most people miss, hit subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. Until then, stay sharp, stay questioning, and keep it real.